Hey Brotherhood channel, it's Kai here, your Friday guy, and this week's topic is names. So kind of just talking about how we chose our name, if we have any interesting stories around that, all that. So first things first, I'm going to say my birth name, but just please remember not to ask people what their birth names, dead names are. If someone wants you to know, they'll let you know. That's not really doesn't matter what their birth name is, first of all. But it can just be triggering or just really rude to just ask someone that. Also, I call it birth name. Other people call it dead name, and there's other terms people use for it. But personally, I use birth name. I don't really like the term dead name because that is just a name that was given to me at birth. It's not, dead to me. I do appreciate the name and like the name because my mom thought of it and all that, and it's important to me. But some people do call it their dead name, and that's totally valid and fine too. And then, sorry, I can't think of any other things people call it, but I know there's a few others. But so I'll be referring to it as my birth name, and I will let you know what it is. But some people don't give out that information, and they have the right not to. So just want to remind people of that. All right. So now that we have now that we have all of that out of the way, sorry I cannot speak today. I will just get right into the story of how I came up with my name, Kai, and basically it's really, the story's not interesting. Maybe. First, I wanted to, at the very beginning, I actually went by Skylar for just a very brief amount of time. I had switched schools, and I really didn't talk to anybody, people in my classes at my new school. It was my senior year of high school, but one class I actually had the privilege of sitting next to three really nice girls and talking to them a bit. And I told them that I go by Skylar, and my teacher in that class actually heard one of them call me Skylar at one point, and he was like, if you want to go by Skylar, I'll call you Skylar. And I was like, okay. But it was a little awkward for me because there were people, so I switched schools, but like it was still in the same general area where I lived. So when I graduated middle school, people from my middle school went to two different schools. They either went to school one, which was my first school, or school two, which is the school I switched to. So there were quite a few people who I hadn't seen for like 3 years, in between graduating 8th grade and going into 12th grade when I switched schools, that were in this school too. And they were like, I got a weird look from one of them when I said I go by Skylar, and it felt weird because people knew me, and it wasn't like a completely new start, so I didn't have the privilege of just like erasing everything before. But anyway, so that really only lasted. Only 4 people ever called me Skylar, which is those 3 girls I sat next to and my teacher, for like literally like a couple weeks, because then I didn't switch schools again, but I switched to doing online school. So I still got to graduate from school too, but I ended up doing school online, and I would go to this trailer behind this other school and just sit in there for a couple hours and do online work for the last 2 credits I needed to graduate high school. It's all a bit complicated, but basically, so no one else ever called me Skylar. But then when I really decided I was going to change my name, the first name I actually chose was Jasper. And I told some of my friends, I was like, I think I'm going to go by Jasper. And they were just kind of like, okay, if you want to. Like, it wasn't being received very well, which in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter. But for me, that something just felt off about it, and the way people were reacting to it didn't feel good, and it just didn't seem like it was catching on. It didn't seem like it was the name for me, even though it was the first name I thought I wanted. So then I was like, okay, I want to keep my initials. That's when I kind of decided I think I'm just going to keep my initials, which was K-E, first name, middle name. My initials were K and E. And I was like, I think I'm just going to keep those. You know, I do appreciate my birth name. I do want to, like pay homage to it. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm just going to cut off the... So my first name was 9 letters. It was Kaitley, K-A-I-T-L-E-I-G-H. And then my middle name was 9 letters. It was Elizabeth, Elizabeth. And so I was like, I'm just going to cut off the last 6 letters of my first name and the last 6 letters of my middle name and come up with my new name. So the first 3 letters of my first name, K-A-I, and then the first 3 letters of my middle name, E-L-I, and that became my name, Kai Eli. And that's that I told people, and they were like, I like that. That sounds good. That works for you. And just a side story, the name Kai had been on my radar for a bit of time because when I was in high school, my junior year of high school, actually, I dated a girl named Caitlin, K-A-I-T-L-Y-N. And I always told her, since both our names start with K-A-I, if we ever have like a son, we should name him Kai, K-A-I. And even more interesting now, she has a nephew named Kai that was born years after me and her broke up, and I told her we should name our kid Kai. So it's just really interesting how it all happened. At first, I thought it was going to be the name of my son, and then it turned out to be my name. Yeah, so that's how I got Kai Eli. On social media, like on YouTube and stuff, the name Kion Elijah is what I use, and that's kind of like my internet name now, but at one point it was going to be my legal name. I actually considered changing my name again to Kion Elijah, and really the only reason I never did that was just because paying the money, and just going through the whole process of changing my name, it didn't seem necessary to do that again. It was just kind of a process, and I'm content now because really the only reason I changed my name in the first place was because it was so feminine and it would out me. Like, people actually thought I was male, and then someone would ask me my name and I'd say Kaitley, and they'd be like, oh, but so you're not a boy? And that's really the only reason I changed it in the first place. So now with Kai, it's still a gender neutral name, but people obviously put 2 and 2 together and they gender me correctly when I tell them my name's Kai. So it works. And I just didn't feel the need to change that again. But I did kind of become, like, Kai became such a common name. Like, it was like on some of those lists for like most common name of trans guys and stuff. And that made me self-conscious. And going from a name like Kaitley that was so uncommon to Kai that was very, becoming much more common, kind of made me feel like, I don't know, weird about it for a while. And I heard the name Kion in my excuse me. My niece was watching The Lion Guard, and the name of Simba's son in that is Kion. So I was like, I like that name, and then but Kion Eli didn't sound good, so I was like, I'll extend the Eli to Elijah too, and still pays its respects to my birth name, but it's still a little more uncommon than Kai Eli. And yeah, so that's now my internet name. I still really like that name. I just didn't change it again because that seemed like a very unnecessary process. And I would still go by Kai anyways. Like, I don't expect people to call me Kion. It was just to have, like, back to, like, that more uncommon name thing. So it wasn't necessary to change again, but I did consider that for a little bit, and now it's just my internet name. But yeah, so that's how I got Kai. That's my legal name now, Kai Eli. Came from Kaitley Elizabeth, first 3 letters of both of them, and yeah. So that's about it. I mean, now I do get asked sometimes if I'm Hawaiian because Kai's a Hawaiian name. So, that's a little bit of explaining, and then, like, I don't always know how to explain it, because sometimes people are like, where'd you get that name from, like kind of thing, like, not because I'm trans, but, like, they're just like, are you Hawaiian? I'm like, well, actually, I'm transgender, and it's, because I don't mind, like, letting people know I'm transgender. I just hope, they don't feel weird about it. But yeah, it's all good. I like it. I feel like it fits me, and it works well to keep the same kind of. It's still derived from my birth name, so I feel like I'm still like kind of let it just be. Like you don't choose your birth name in most cases, so I feel like I didn't really choose this name. It just kind of chose me. It just kind of worked. So that's how I came to get my name, and that's it for this week. I will see you all next week. As always, stay strong, stay safe, and stay you. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.